let's have a little chat. So, along my journey of dadhood and just realizing how vulnerable I am as a dad, we all have to come to the realization that we are superheroes as we raise our children as they're young. We're all superheroes, but there's going to come a day in your child's life. I'm gonna tell you guys this real quick. Please like and subscribe to this channel. There's going to be a period of time where you stop being a superhero to your child. There's going to be a period of time where you become the villain. And that's okay. Because in order to really love your child, in order to really love and attempt to understand where they're coming from, you got to be a villain. You got to be. You're going to have to disrupt your child's happiness in certain ways. There's going to be days where they're doing something that makes them happy, but because what makes them happy in that formal way that they're doing it is not morally right or it's not right in the moment, you're going to have to be a villain in that moment. You can't always put on your cape and save the day. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Dads, understand this. Our children are going to go through phases. Phases. Right now, I like to see myself as Black Panther, superhero dad. Anytime my child needs help, my children, I should say, anytime my children needs help, I'm there. I put on my armor, it's Wakanda forever. But I know that there's periods of time when my children don't like what I'm telling them. And I know there's periods like that in your lives. When you look at your children and you tell them, listen, this is going to be not fun for you in this moment. And there's going to be lessons that you want to give to your children to let them know. Thank you for joining, everyone. There's going to be lessons in your child's life that you want them to understand that life is not always going to be fun. Life is not always going to be fun. And you as a parent, the things that you do and say to your child will not always be favorable in their minds. What's up? What's up? Thanks for joining. Talking about parenthood. You will never always be a superhero. Just remember that. What's up, Michael? In order to be the best parent you can be, understand that sometimes you will have to be the supervillain. You're going to make decisions that your children are not going to always like. So you may tell your child, listen, stop doing that. Or you give your child that Samuel L. Jackson look, just, that crazy look that Samuel L. Jackson be giving, that look. And your child should know what's up when they see that look. They should know, all right, it's time for me to cut the nonsense. Let me stop before I get in trouble. There's going to be moments like that. And it's okay. We as parents have to evolve with our children. They're not going to always like us. They're not. Our children, when they're young, they look at us like superheroes, right? Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, think of the greatest superhero right now. Let's go back to the comics if you need to. Think about all those superheroes you used to watch on the TV. That's how we want to be seen in our children's eyes. We want to be liked by our children. But understand this. We love our children, but we have to make the unpopular decision sometimes. We have to be the parents to make the unpopular choice that's going to benefit our children in the long run. And like I said, they may not like it. It's not going to always be favorable. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We are not supposed to be or designed to be our kids' friends. We were never designed to be our kids' friends. That's why they call us parents. You can be friendly with your children down the line, right? Because there's certain stages and phases our children are going to go through. In the beginning stages, this stage to me is like the training stage. Like you're training your child to understand how to have manners, how to uh be around other kids, how to look both ways when they're crossing the street. Certain things we're training them. As they get into the next phase and they get older, now we're trying to make them be a little more independent. And now we're testing them on certain knowledge. And we ask them questions. We ask our kids these questions like, what would you do if a stranger approached you in the street and asked you, can you help me with this by my car? I got something in the trunk that's really heavy and I cannot lift it. Would you give me a hand? Or the stranger that may come to them and say, I got some adorable puppies. You won't even believe it. Come follow me to this white van with no letters on it. Come on. You got people like that in this world. And we have to be realistic with our children. As crazy as that sounded, the way I said it, we have to be realistic and make our kids know the dangers of the world. Because guess what? These people that prey on children are relying on your children's ignorance. They're relying on it. They're expecting it. So if we're not taking that responsibility as parents to teach our children the correct way, there's going to be that person out there that's going to be rubbing their hands together like Birdman, just waiting, just like, yeah, I can't wait for your child to come here. I'm going to teach them something. They're going to learn today. There's going to be one of those people out there that do that. And we as parents, we got to make that right decision to let our kids know, hey, listen, see that person over there? What if that person came to you and said, I got a bunch of things that I need help with. I got some candy for you. So if you help me do this thing, I'm going to give you all this candy. And you got to ask your child, what would you do in a situation like that? Would you listen to that person? What if the person was someone you semi knew? You didn't know them fully, but what if it was someone that you got their name off of someone? Would you listen to that person? And I'm learning as a dad that you cannot always be the hero, right? There's going to be moments where your kids look at you like a villain. And that's okay, because sometimes you got to make villain decisions to keep them alive, to keep them aware of things that go on in the world. You can't always make the fun decision with your children. Think about it like this. When your children are out, right? They're having fun, they're going down the slide at park, they're playing around. You looking at your watch, you're like, it's getting kind of late. Do you know what the unpopular choice of words are now? Let me tell you. The unpopular choice of words are, it's time to go home. No child wants to hear that. No child wants to hear it's time to go home. When kids are having a bunch of fun, when they're having so much fun and they're just mentally just exuberated, they're just on the pinnacle of happiness. And then they hear someone say, it's time to pack it up. We got to get out. We got to get out of here. You got to eat dinner, go to bed, take your bath, go to bed. No child wants to hear that. Because you know why? That's interrupting their fun. It's interrupting their fun. So when you say stuff like that, even though you had good intentions behind it, you appear to be the villain in that moment. Whereas someone else that doesn't care, They're like, oh yeah, go have fun. It's nighttime. Oh yeah, go play by that back alley over there. It's okay. It's dark, but you'll be fine. That person. You don't want that person to be telling your kids what to do. What does it say? Die young, you're a hero. Live too long, you're a villain. That is reality in America. Yep. America has a lot of realities that unfortunately they're pretty dismal. They're pretty sad. But like I said, raising kids is not easy. And the older your kids get, they're going to go through different phases of life. They're going to go somehow, some way. Your kids are going to go through that rebellion stage. It's coming. Because right now I have two girls and they're young. I have a 4-year-old and a 8-year-old. And my 8-year-old is starting to get into that puberty stage where it's like I'm sensing like more of the attitude. Like the attitude is starting to come out a little bit more. And when you go through these stages as a young dad in your journey, you start to question yourself. You start to ask yourself, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Because you base it on your children's behavior. Like if you see your child is acting out and you feel like you're not able to control that behavior, it's going to force you to ask questions to yourself. It's going to force you to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough to help my children? And that's the normal thing of a parent. You're going to question yourself. You're going to ask yourself, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Because a lot of times in life, your children will test you. They're going to test what they can get away with, and they're going to test just how far they can push you before you get on them or yell at them or something along those lines. They're going to test you because I've already been tested and I'm in the early stages of parenthood. So I can only imagine like those other parents that have like grown teenagers or grown kids. They look at parents like me with younger kids and they're like, you ain't seen nothing yet. Just you wait. Just you wait. And I look at them like, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? Just wait. Are they talking about it's going to get worse from here? Because think about it. You hear people speak about the terrible twos, right? Have you guys heard that term? The terrible two stage, where they're young toddlers and they get into everything and they do the most destructive thing at 2 years old. Then you got the three-nager. The three-nager is like a step above for some reason. And then you got the foreigner. Now, the foreigner is someone you don't recognize. You don't even recognize your child anymore at this point. You're like, who is this child? Like, I know I raised a certain child. I know I'm still young in the game, but I'm like, who is this child at 4 years old? I don't recognize anything that this child is doing at this point. And it gets to a point where you just start questioning yourself as a parent. And like I said, I have two girls. One is 4, one is 8. My 8-year-old is testing me to no limit right now. Like right now, she's wanting to be more independent. She's in that stage where she wants to be with her friends. She values her friends' opinions. But me as a dad, I'm letting her know, listen, you got to understand something. When it comes to life, there's going to be two things that really teach you, or two aspects of your life that really are going to teach you. One is your parents. Your parents are going to show you things of life. They're going to try to teach you things to make you avoid the pitfalls of life. And you want to know the other one? The other one is life itself. Life itself will teach you in a more harsh way. When you don't listen to your parents, life now picks up the chalk and starts writing its lesson on the blackboard. That's how I try to explain it, because honestly, it gets to a point where your child will make a lot of errors, which is expected of children. They're going to make a lot of mistakes, a lot of mistakes. I think about when I was a kid, how many mistakes I've made, how many beatings I got. I've gotten so many beatings based on the mistakes I did when I was younger. So it's only fair to give your children that same kind of, I guess, that same kind of space for errors, because they're going to go through it. They are going to go through it, guys. When I say your children are going to make some disastrous mistakes, I already put that in my mind, because I don't want to be surprised by any craziness. I want to understand that my child will make mistakes, but I have to be the one to guide them. So when the mistake occurs, I have to be the one to sit them down, look them in their eyes. First of all, you got to get on your children's level. Your kids are already smaller than you. So if you got to bend down on one knee to look them in the eye, do that. Get down on one knee or sit down so you guys could be at equal eye level, right? And have a face-to-face talk with them. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, there's going to come a time where you become a supervillain in your children's eyes. And I've come to grips with that now, because I realize right now it's the young stage. So right now I'm the hero, but I know there are instances, and I've already seen the instances. I've seen instances where I say something to my older daughter and she looks at me like, she give me that look like, yeah, you ain't shit for that. Like one of those kind of looks. One of those kind of looks like, why are you telling me this? I'm not trying to hear that. But I know at the end of the day, I have to be the one that lets her know I'm looking out for you. I'm not going to always make the favorable decision in your eyes. But just know, when you leave this out of this house, this is what you guys should tell your kids too. When they leave out of this house, just know people outside of this door will not care for you like the people inside here. I need you to understand that. When you leave out of this house, I'm going to repeat it again. When you leave outside of this house, just know there are people out there that do not have the love for you like the people in here. Let me read some of the comments. Let me see. From Jonathan, I got lucky. My kids never really rebelled. One is now a nurse and one a mechanical engineer. I never hit my kids and talked to them instead. And I never talk to them. Instead, you'll be fine. I guarantee you. I appreciate that, Jonathan. I really do. And congrats on your child becoming a nurse. That's a great accomplishment. And that's all I can honestly just hope that my children get to that level when they get older. So I'm just trying to place the seeds or plant the seeds now and make my children understand that I am here for them and I will do my best. I'll do my best for them. Because the best thing you could do for your kids is make them understand that you are there for them. Once your children feel like you've abandoned them, that's when I feel like things just go off the wall. Like children want to know that you care. And I feel like the rebelling issue, I think the rebelling part, it can play a role in why kids are acting the way they act. Is because they want to go to a distance with their behavior to see if it'll affect you in any way, to show that you actually give a damn. I think that's part of an aspect of why kids rebel. They want to see who cares. Who is going to care for me when I look like I'm about to throw my life away, when I look like I'm about to just do the most dangerous thing to put myself and my life in jeopardy, who's going to have a reaction? And I think that's what part of the rebelling stage is. And it gets to a point, like I said, like I'm still in the younger stages of dadhood, but I feel once I get to like, I think once my daughter becomes a teenager, that's going to be the really scary stage, because it's going to be like uncharted territory for me. I don't know what to expect as a dad right now. I don't know what to expect at the teenager stage. I know some parents that have teenagers now, and from what I observed and what they've told me, they've made it sound like their teenagers don't want anything to do with them. And I'm by anything, I mean anything. Like it got to a point where I asked this one dad, how is it to raise a teenage girl or a teenage boy? How is that stage? And they looked at me. They had glasses on too. They took their glasses off before they gave a response. They looked me in my eye and was like, bro, it's hard. Some of these kids, honestly, they don't want anything to do with you unless you're giving them money. So unless you're doing something that has an effect on them in the current moment, a lot of the kids don't want anything to do with you. So it's just crazy. Like I'm kind of scared of that moment, to be honest. The teenage stage, I don't know what to expect. Like this is like the baby stage, honestly. This is a stage where it's just like you deal with little small things, small problems, small issues, but the older your child gets, the issues become bigger, right? At least that's what I expect. I expect the issues to get a little bit bigger. So I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still growing from this stage. And I'm like, yeah, I gotta just have that expectation. As my children get older, I have to understand that my parenting has to evolve. So as we get older as parents, we got to realize something too. We got to realize we live in a different kind of world, that our kids are going to understand the technology more so than us as the world progresses. Technology is only going to progress, and our kids are going to be accurate with it because they're already accurate with their iPads. They're already accurate with all their devices now. So it's only going to get better for them. So we have to grow with the times and understand that our parenting cannot remain the same, because they're not going to remain the same. We can't try to raise our children the same way when they were younger compared to when they reach 14, 15 years old. We can't expect to raise them that same way and then expect the same results. Wouldn't that be defined as insanity? Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result. Isn't that called insanity? So I'm learning that, yeah, I gotta change the way I parent. I gotta change the way things are. Because right now, currently, it's going okay now. But I know as they get older, I'm gonna have to change the way I look at things. Because if I want them to grow, that means I have to grow as well. I can't remain stagnant and expect growth for my children. So let me read some comments. The fact you made this video shows me that you'll be an excellent father. It does get hard sometimes, but sometimes it gets easier too. Take it one day at a time. Thank you, Jonathan. Those are great words. Because I try to understand that fatherhood is really challenging. I try to understand that. And I do try to take it one day at a time. Some days are harder than others. I'll be honest. Some days are harder than others. But I try to understand that taking it one step at a time kind of makes the road a little bit easier to travel upon. So I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, Jonathan, I thank you so much for getting on here. I hope that you subscribe to the page. I hope to see you soon. And it's been great, man. We're gonna come on. I'm gonna come back on here and make another live or another video relating to subjects like this. And I appreciate you again, Jonathan. Till next time. Peace.